Now that whole process, the CEO's dilemma, this notion of uncovering what we don't know before it's too late and asking the right questions to do that, it's the foundation for an amazing workshop and program we run here at MIT. It's about the intersection of asking the right questions or inquiry as an innovative leader and photography of all things. You might be wondering, what on earth is the connection there? Well, about 3 years ago, I met with Reed Callanan, the director and founder of Santa Fe Photographic Workshops. We had a long conversation about my love of leadership and asking questions, and Reed's love of photography and building an organization that helps hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of people become better photographers. Well, we ended up connecting. Reed ended up connecting me with Sam Abell, a 30-year-plus National Geographic photographer. And Sam and I have put together a 3-day experience where leaders and Sam and I myself, all of us, engage in a conversation that's intensive and that in many instances is often deeply personal. Because the kinds of questions we ask and care about as leaders reflect who we are and the values that matter the most to us. And those kinds of questions drive the leadership and the impacts that we have. And the amazing thing is that photography speaks in the same language. The images we take speaks about what Sam calls as a horizon line. It's an anchoring point in the photographs we take that make all the difference about how we see the world. Sam also has a concept in the course that he discusses about composing and waiting, framing a scene through the lens and then waiting for something really interesting to happen. Well, the first workshop that Sam and I did about innovation in images, this intersection of inquiry and asking questions and taking pictures and being a better photographer, and ultimately becoming a better leader. In that first workshop on the last day, I was moving closer and closer towards one of my blind spots, one of the things that I didn't know until it became abundantly clear by looking through the lens on a Saturday morning. Third day of the workshop, we woke up quite early in Santa Fe, went to the main square town area, and much to our surprise, there was an antique car show that showed up. Amazingly beautiful cars, all different colors, sizes, and types. They parked. I was taking images, click, 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 the whole time as they showed up. And then I settled in onto one car that had this amazing half-circle back window. And I was trying to frame through that back window a phenomenal picture by looking through the back window, through the front window, to the street side to figure out what might be going on in that sidewalk through all those windows that could be interesting and make for a great picture. It was a little warm that morning, literally 30 pictures, 40 pictures, 50 pictures, 60 pictures. I was trying to get the right composition with the right weighting where the moment would produce a photograph that would look inevitable and be amazing. Well, my glasses broke in half, sweat was coming off my forehead, and in the middle of all of that, a voice from behind came to me saying, "Don't you think you'd get a better picture if you got inside of the car and took them from there?" I heard the voice, I turned around, and I said, "No, thank you." And then I turned back and started taking more pictures from the outside through the windows. About 20 seconds later, I realized the man had been really inviting. He did want me to come and be inside of his car. I turned around and I said, "Would you mind if I got in?" Well, I got in, I settled in, I composed it carefully so that the lines and the windows and the things all around me looking out that back seat towards the front were in just the right place. And then I waited. A young woman came along, looked in the car, And she was like, "Who are you and what are you doing in that car?" And then she walked away. Others came by and looked in. I'm still waiting. I'm still holding. I'm trying to make sure that the composition is right. And then a couple comes up, man on one side, woman on the other, and they look inside. The man pokes his head inside. He stares at me for a moment. I'm looking at him through the camera. And he then says, "Do you come with the car?" I laughed, he laughed, but I did not move my composition or the camera, and it ended up being one of those moments of deep connection, not just photographically, but humanly, where I had exposed myself in a slightly uncomfortable position, where a stranger came into my space, and we had a connection that otherwise never would have happened if I'd stayed in my comfortable spot behind the back of the car and avoided that question of, would you like to take a picture inside? It's a long story, but it has a deep ending. About 2 years before that experience, I had had a heart attack, unexpectedly, and afterwards I realized, in conversations with people who matter a lot to me, that a lot of my life has been lived with the following question: how can I be nice to people around me? That has its own story, its long history, goes way, way back when I was a young kid at home. But I grew up living that question. How can I make my dad happy? In part because he was emotionally abusive, and I was always trying to figure out the best way I could, what can I do here to make him happy? And that question stuck with me throughout my professional life and my personal life as an adult. Well, I started to be exposed to the idea that maybe there's a better question. And the question, really, that I thought about, especially after this experience, taking pictures in Santa Fe, outside and inside of that car, is not how can I make other people happy, but what difference, in a positive, good way, can I make right now? I had to get uncomfortable in a lot of different settings, and that moment in taking a picture in Santa Fe, inside and outside of that car, it exposed me. It did cause me to be a little uncomfortable, but all of that connected me, not only to the people looking in the window, and not only afterwards to the owner of the car, with whom I had a wonderful conversation, but in the end, it helped me make a connection with myself to be not only a better human being, but hopefully a better leader. That's the first workshop we did. We've done 2 or 3 since then. And every one of them has had their own impact on not only my work as a leader and the questions I ask and the questions I live, but those workshops have had the same kind of impact on Sam Abell, who works with me, and the others who are there doing the same thing that we're trying to do. So I invite you to join us at this workshop, this program. If you love leadership, if you love trying to figure out what's the right question, photography can be a powerful mechanism to explore the questions that really matter. And this program can be a powerful vehicle to put those two things together in ways that could help you and me walk away as different leaders. Thank you.